Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to our new Wholesale Hustler live broadcast. My name is Peter Vekselman. This is Julie Muse, my sidekick.
Hey, guys.
And you guys are going to be seeing us here quite a bit. We're excited about what we're doing. Guys, the bottom line is this. Every week, we'll be bringing on guests from literally all over the United States that are killing it in the real estate business, and most specifically in the wholesale space. And this is like our first go-around, guys. So a lot of things we're doing here, we're kind of doing on the fly. And one of the things, I'm actually reading the introduction here. So, today's guest is one of my actually former students, Brian. Actually, I had a chance to be with him just a month or two ago. He and I had, and his lovely wife had dinner. But Brian's a stud. And Brian, we appreciate you being here. And part of the reason you're here is because it is our first go-around, and because you and I know each other. Hopefully you're going to be putting up with some of the mistakes. We've been like in the last 30 minutes making a bunch of mistakes. But Brian Trippe he's just literally a serial entrepreneur. He's got many businesses in the space. He started investing in 2012. He founded his investment company out of Birmingham, Alabama. It's called Alabama Cash Deals, Inc. It's a marketing company that literally locates deals throughout central Alabama. In 2016, he founded a real estate brokerage called 205 Realty. He's also founder of one of the country's largest RIA, and this is where he and I connected just a couple months ago, called the Alabama RIA. And throughout Alabama, Brian has student partners that he teaches different real estate strategies to. Now, most recently, and this is what I was really excited about when you shared this with me when we had dinner a couple months ago, you're actually branding your company and you're taking it to a national level, which is, Brian, something Julie and I could relate, because guess what? We do deals all over the nation. So we're all about expanding, leveraging, utilizing bigger space other than smaller space. So we're excited for you to share that with us. He's actually released a book a little while, and it's so funny, about, I don't know when it was, several months ago. I got a personal copy of this delivered to me, and I'm like, what the heck's this? And I read it, and Brian actually had a little personal message to me, and that was really cool. It's called Nothing's for Sale, and it's really, really cool book. And he was, I don't know if you were just kind of trying to stroke my ego a little bit, but he did mention in his little note to me that I had a little impact and when he wrote that. So that was really cool, Brian. We want you to talk about this in a minute. On top of that, this is our first podcast, but this isn't Brian's first rodeo. He's actually had a podcast going. It's called Masterclass, and it's where he interviews investors, top-level investors, literally all over the United States. Cool thing is Brian's a follower of Jesus Christ. He lives in Birmingham with his wife, Catherine. He's got 2 kids, Madeline and Anson. And listen, guys, a big warm welcome to our first official podcast. Yay. Brian Trippe. There you go. You got a whole big audience here. Anyway, listen, we're fired up. I'm going to turn it over to Julie here. She's got some cool questions, but Brian, we're free flowing here. Whatever you want to say, whatever you want to add, run with it.
Absolutely. Well, Peter, I am honored. I'm absolutely honored to be your first guest. I'm fired up about this. Congratulations on your very first episode. Many, many, many more to come. I know that you're the kind of person that's just going to provide tremendous value to your audience, and I'm just honored to be just a tiny little small part of this thing.
Awesome.
Yes, and Brian, the funny thing is you don't know me, but I know you. A lot of people that I work with in Birmingham are like, hey, I'm going to Brian's RIA. I'm going to Brian's RIA. And even though, Peter and I may be working with them one-on-one, you're influencing their life as well, which is absolutely amazing. So it's great that we have that synergy together. Definitely. And wonderful to meet you for the first time.
Absolutely. And I'm glad to meet you. And you probably don't know this, but I've been following you a little bit too, just because of Peter. So absolutely.
One thing, and I don't have this here in the questions, but one thing I wanted to say about your book, and guys, you've got to pick up a copy of this book. Not only is it about, real estate, but it's about Brian's life and Brian's life growing up. And I want to share with you guys one insert. He goes, to my mother who did everything she had to do to support me and my sister, I am forever grateful for her. As a woman, as a mother myself, it's it's a real pleasure to see someone, like you acknowledging your mother, like that. And after reading some of the stuff you guys went through when you were younger, it just leads me to believe that, people can be like you.
Yeah. Yeah. And thank you for saying that, by the way. But, I had a really tough upbringing. And, you're talking about my mom who had to raise me and my sister by herself. My dad ran out when we were really little, and I didn't really even know my dad until I was about 11 or 12 years old. So you're talking about a big gap of time there where you've got a single mother growing up in just really kind of horrific, circumstances and situations. And for her to work multiple jobs just to put food on the table, just to, help us just survive. I can't, I owe everything to her, and she sacrificed her entire life. She had me when she was 19. She had my sister when she was 17. So you think about that, until she was 30, 35 years old, like she sacrificed the prime years of her life for us. So, I mean, that's the least I can do, right? Is write a dedication to her.
Oh, and I'm sure she's just absolutely, proud of you. I know I would be, Brian. Well, everybody wants to know, how did you even get started in real estate investing?
Yeah, it's a great story. I'm a product of the big box seminar companies. It's how I got started. Rich Dad Education. I could say some good things about them. I can say some bad things about them. But what I will say is that there's no way I would even be in real estate without them. Didn't really know anything about it. I took what they give you a lot of information, don't really give you a lot of the hands-on mentoring that I feel like you really need to be successful right away. But I was just kind of felt like my back was against the wall. I took the information that they did give me. 45 days later, I went out and did my very first wholesale deal, made $10,000. Complete game changer for me. I think that this business is 90% mental. It's very little has to do with the actual, because you could get a coach. You could get a wonderful coach like Peter and like you guys, and they can take you through all the necessary steps to make sure you do a deal. But what they can't do, or what they may not have I guess a really firm grasp on, is your mindset. And that first deal I ever did, it was a game changer. It changed my thinking. I just talked about a second ago, kind of my upbringing and stuff like that. Well, I never thought I could be rich. I never thought I could be wealthy. I never thought I could get money. $10,000 in one chunk was the most amount of money I'd ever made at one time ever. And so it just really changed my mindset, my way of thinking. And I think if it weren't for that first deal, I would not be, where I am today. And obviously I've gotten up with some coaches along the way. Obviously Peter was one of those, and that helps for sure. But it all starts with the mindset and the mind shift in the beginning.
No, and I love that. When people are first getting started, in this business, being able to get that confidence early on, I think really helps scale their business. It's not always knowledge, it's more so the confidence. So, with that being said, how many no's, did you get when you were talking to sellers before you got your first yes? And and how did that experience go from beginning to end?
Totally. If you're specifically talking about wholesaling, it's a sales game. It's a numbers game. And you have to really be a student. You have to be a student, and that's part of it, but you have to be able to take what you learn and try to apply it. Don't just be a constant student and just learn. You have to learn one thing and go apply it. And when I heard a lot of no's, I want to know, what am I doing wrong specifically? One of my mentors mentioned a book. Hey, you know what? Go get this book called Influence by Dr. Robert Cialdini. This is one of the greatest sales books that you could ever buy and ever get your hands on. And I bought the book, studied it, and made some tweaks to my delivery and the way I talk to sellers and things like that, how to negotiate, how to use empathy, and all these little things that we may not necessarily get taught right out of the gate or might not know out of the gate, but it helps us to be successful, and it helps us to hear the word no a little less often.
No, and that's beautiful. And wouldn't you say that getting used to hearing no sort of helps too? A
little bit. So I don't want to hear no, right? I want to turn. I'm a problem solver. I'm a transactional engineer. We're talking about wholesaling in particular, but if we can't buy their house for cash. If that doesn't work, hopefully I know you guys use the model. That's where I got it from. You guys use the model where if they won't accept the low cash offer, we can offer to list it. The reason I started a brokerage is because I watched what you guys do. So we started a brokerage. We have that part of it. We can offer, hopefully owner financing, some sort of creative terms to where hopefully I'm not hearing no a million times. Hopefully we can at least solve their problem. We have some sort of solution to solve any problem.
No, and that's awesome because you're really you're empowering the consumer. You're not just giving them one option with you guys and what you've got going on. You're giving them multiple options. That way they don't feel like they're left in the dust. And at the end of the day, they know they're making the right decision. With that being said, I mean, what advice do you give to other wholesale hustlers or anyone trying to get into real estate investing?
Well, first of all, the mind shift thing, the mindset thing, I hate to go back to it, but it's 90% of it. If you want to start getting tactical, let's get tactical, but the tactics aren't really going to work and aren't really going to help you as much as you want them to help you if you can't understand the mind shift and the mindset, what it takes to be successful, those kinds of things, what that word actually means. It doesn't mean that you go to your office for 8 hours and watch cat videos on Facebook for 5 of those 8 hours, right? You're actually talking to sellers. Our good friend Joe McCall says, talk to 5 brand new sellers every single day. If you can just start there, 5 brand new people at minimum every single day, you're going to get a deal, and if you're hearing nothing but no, well, then let's go back to the drawing board and let's study how to talk to people. Let's study empathy and let's study these sales skills to help us to be a little bit more successful.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, they're in Birmingham or in your area. I mean, what do you find that works best in terms of marketing and advertising there in your local market?
Totally. So I'm taking this straight from Peter, right? Everything I'm about to tell you, I got from Peter. I got from my real estate coaches. I think marketing is going to be, you really need to look at it from, market to market, what works best. We're doing some specific things right now. We're really running with Facebook ads. I love cold calling people. I think that is just absolutely been a game changer in the real estate space and the wholesaling space here in the last year or two, where it's been kind of a little bit more popular. But what Peter told me, 4 years ago, I still take with me to this day. And if you're a new investor, this is some of the best tactical advice that you can get. Don't try to do that. All the gurus try to tell you, you got to market this, you got to do this, you got to do this and this and this and this. Let's do one thing. They all work. I don't care if you're hanging bandit signs. I don't care if you're knocking on doors. I don't care if you're doing Facebook ads, you're cold calling, you're driving for dollars. It doesn't matter. They all work. Do one, perfect it, and then add a second one. And just it's depth versus width. Stop trying to spread. That's the number one mistake I see wholesalers make. And Peter, you saw it in me all those years ago. So the number one mistake most wholesalers make when they get started, they're trying to do everything. It's depth versus width. You got to go deep in one thing instead of trying to go wide with 100 things.
Yes, absolutely. And I love your comments about consistency, and just doing it over and over and over again and being brilliant at the basics, and that's what we're always looking for. And I loved hearing your background. I loved reading your book. And this is going to make this question, a little bit more heart to heart here, but what has real estate investing, afforded you the ability to do that, you never thought was possible before?
For sure. Well, let me say this, like, as much as I love wholesaling, and I think wholesaling is an incredible tactic that you can use in the real estate space to get a lot of money very quickly, low barrier of entry, all these things. I think it's phenomenal. I could not have gotten into real estate without it, obviously. Wholesaling for me was a means to an end. I didn't want to be a wholesaler forever. And there may be some people who are listening to this that may kind of feel the same way. I love wholesaling and we're doing well. We're making some money, but I don't want to wholesale forever. And I think it's the rare person that can build a really big business. Something like you guys have done, build a really big business doing nothing but wholesaling. That's great. That's not something that everybody is probably going to be able to do. So I recognize that pretty early. I do have a wholesale business. I have it to this day. It runs without me. I'm a big believer in building businesses. I'm a big believer in cash flow. I'm a big believer in passive income. What can I do for cash flow and for passive income? And for me, it's build businesses, whether it's buy rentals, whether it's my brokerage, my wholesaling company. We have all this stuff going on and it all runs without me. The only businesses I own to this day that don't run without me yet are the RIA that I love, and I just love being a part of it. And my personal one-on-one coaching students. That's really all that doesn't run without me today. And not to say that I don't do something, here and there in these businesses, but for the most part, they run without me. So you asked the question, what does real estate afforded me? It's being able to build these businesses for cash flow to where they kind of mostly run without me, to where I can go and live my life and do what I want to do. One of my mentors from the very beginning, I first heard him say this, and I kind of stole it from him. It's my mantra. It's in my
Well,
are we experiencing some technical difficulties? Well, it wouldn't be their first go around unless we had a couple technical difficulties. But we actually, Brian's there. He just kind of froze up a little bit. But you know what I really like that he's talking about? So much mindset. We talk, so many people, when you talk to them about real estate, all they're talking about is tactics. But don't you agree so much of it is just right here?
Yes, absolutely. And the journey that he's been on throughout this whole time, to get to where he is now. I mean, how incredible a blessing that is for him to have been able to build these businesses, giving him residual income where, it looks like to me, he's doing the things he wants to do. He loves the RIA and he loves his one-on-one coaching students. And that's what he does all the time.
There's no question. You invest your time in your passions. And again, this whole thing about him talking about the mindset, about this, I could tell you, and I know, Julie, you'll agree, nobody ever quits this business from the technical standpoint. It's always from the mindset standpoint, right? They give up because it's too tough. They're not seeing results. I'm telling you guys, this thing that Brian's talking about, hopefully we can catch him back live here shortly. You got to get mentally tough in this business. If you're going to be successful, whether it's wholesaler or fix and flip or have a retail business, you got to have it straight up here. You got to have it straight right here. And again, no one quits because of technical stuff. No one even makes it because of technical stuff. Technical stuff's kind of easy. We don't do anything here none of you all can do. But you gotta be mentally tough.
Yes, absolutely. Guys, we want to thank you, so much for joining our show, Brian. Glad you were on. And one last time, give everybody a way for them to connect you if you're in the Birmingham area. So guys, if you are in the Birmingham area, you have got to go check out Brian's RIA. I know Peter's been there. They've been great. You've got to pick up a copy of Brian's book. I know you'll love it as much as I do, and I'm sure, he's always there to work with somebody, one-on-one. We know he's a good guy. We are so glad to have you on. And I'm actually blessed to be able to talk to you for the first time. So what we want you to do, guys, we want you to stay tuned to next week when we'll have Elijah Rubin from Arizona on. The Wholesale Hustler podcast is a weekly show every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Look, we'll see you soon. We'll see you next week.
Remember, guys, we're sponsored by us. It's by our partner-driven coaching program. So for those of you that want to learn how to find incredible real estate deals, we've done 3,500 of these. So for you that want to learn how to find incredible deals, guys, what we do, no one else does. We're actually going to give you 100% of our capital to buy these deals. If you want to use our infrastructure to help you execute these deals, and then we sell them together and we split the profits, that is what our partner-driven coaching program is all about. So to learn more about that, either go to our website at www.coachingbypeter.com, or you know what? You can call me directly at area code 404-915-9685. We're signing up. It's our first one. We look forward to seeing you guys next Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern.
Thanks, guys.